Just again, top of the head. So are you a movie person?
Yes, somewhat.
Okay. So your favorite sports movie, if you had one?
Moneyball.
Oh, okay. Relatively on the newer side of them, but okay.
I also like 42.
Yep, that's a good one.
That's a classic.
That's fantastic.
For me, yeah.
I think Coach Burke said Hoosiers, I believe.
Oh yeah,
and,
see, I mean, like,
and I think Bostic was. He got game, I believe it was.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember. It was back in February, but I'm trying to remember.
But Hoosiers is a good one.
Hoosiers is solid.
Yeah, yep.
So, favorite Skidmore athletic moment? I know there's probably been so many.
Wow, there are so many. Too many. I think I can't even. I wish I could just come up with one off the top of my head, but
that's fine.
Yeah.
Favorite spot in Saratoga?
Well, it's got town. Well, it's Skidmore's campus.
Oh, it is the campus.
Absolutely, because I'm not in Saratoga.
So you don't just go around town and hang out, really? You're more
I'm here and I'm here. Yeah.
So you're here and you're home. Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. It's. I mean, not to say that I've never gone to a restaurant or anything.
Well, no, of course,
do, but like this campus is beautiful.
So I'm not going to find you on Caroline Street.
No.
Okay.
Ever.
Fair enough.
Ever. But the pond is awesome, right?
It is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I do like that. Coffee or tea or energy drinks?
Diet Coke.
Okay.
Oh.
So you got to have the caffeine, but okay.
Look our student athletes just gifted me at our sports recognition night, Monday night, 19 cases, one from each team.
Okay.
On my way out the door.
So Coke,
no,
not Pep. Diet Coke, yeah. But I mean, like the Coca-Cola products, not
Correct.
Pepsi.
Correct.
And you can taste the difference.
Absolutely.
Okay, because some people can't.
No.
Okay.
It's distinct.
Okay, and Diet Pepsi is so very different.
Very different.
Okay. I'm not a huge soda drinker. I drink a lot of energy drinks.
I wish I wasn't,
but I like it.
We all have our vice.
I used to be, but I've transitioned more to energy drinks for my caffeine now, which also probably isn't good for my heart. But what are you gonna do?
I wish I would say I could drink water, but I don't.
I can't. If I'm gonna do water, it's got to be like Propel or something with flavor in it. So the one thing you think, and again, it could be many, but one thing that makes Skidmore. It doesn't necessarily have to be athletics.
Mm-hmm.
Skidmore. One thing that makes Skidmore unique.
The fact that it's a liberal arts college in Saratoga Springs. Most liberal arts colleges are not in a city or town. They're in the middle of nowhere.
Well, sure, like Hartwick or whatever.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's a community around it.
So that you've got a relatively big town around it.
Yes, and there's a downtown and there's businesses and like that. That's
what makes it unique. Okay.
That's a selling point for sure.
The most underrated part of running an athletic department.
Underrated. I think that if you don't know what an administrator does, then you assume that they are just at games.
Okay.
And that's all that they do is make sure that the game happens.
There's so much behind the scenes.
And there's so much behind the scenes that
I had that discussion with Pete Fisher too. I was like, people see you at the games. Oh, I gotta remember now. That was back in February, but
might have been something similar.
It was, yeah.
Like
that there's so I see you walking around the games, but what you do outside of just coming up and making sure this is on, there's so much more to that.
And
that goes into it.
All day long, 5 days a week, and then at nights and weekends, that's when the games happen, right?
Now, do you book? You as athletic director, I don't know, would do it, but like the schools that they play, outside of conference games, the non-conference. I know basketball's played Plattsburgh the last however many years. Do you book those games?
No, they schedule. We let
the coaches schedule. Okay, because I was going to say there's been a couple where I'd like to see some. There's some matchups I'd like to see. I didn't know who to talk to though on that.
Yep. So coaches do their schedules, and then their schedules get approved. I mean, it's all about getting their budget right and how they're transporting there. And
there's been a couple that we see every year. Middlebury, we see a lot. Williams on the women's side, we see a lot.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say if you had a part in that. What was going on with the women's basketball schedule in the beginning of the season?
Oh, look, that's David. That's all
7
David.
Nationally ranked teams out of 9.
And look, he's not straying too far from that, but that's all about MPI.
Oh, yeah. No.
Right?
Well,
So
I told him, and he told me it's because I want them to be ready for conference play and battle tested. And you look at the run that they made at the end of the year. You start the season at 1-9, and then all of a sudden, you're looking at it like, oh,
but
geez.
you have to be super confident that you can mentally get them to that point, right? Because otherwise, at 1-9, they're like season's done,
rolling over. Yeah.
So,
and I saw that, and I'm like, man, that's probably the toughest non-conference schedule I've ever seen.
But he also pulled off a couple of wins in that
crazy,
moment too, right? So
he really did.
That gives you the momentum to keep going.
Tufts was a big one, also.
Williams.
Williams, we've had their number the last couple of years, actually. But Williams, I remember in the beginning was kind of a nemesis for us in the beginning of the time.
Sure.
But
anytime you can beat
any of those NESCAC, they're fantastic schools as well. I know Bowdoin is always crazy. We play them. NYU's good. So then for but what's one thing that I guess I guess the word would be legacy. What's the one thing you want people to remember your time here for? Like, when they look back and say, okay, her 20 years here on campus, if there's one thing they had to pick, what's the one thing you want to be, I guess, remembered for?
Remembered for, I think, not giving up the fight, right? I mean, like, the steady guide to improvements on a consistent basis, right? Of whether it be operational dollars, staffing, facilities. I mean, this just the steady growth. I mean, none of this growth happened overnight. It happened over a time period of 21 years. And at least during my time, right? 21 years. And so, we weren't, we just didn't achieve it overnight. It was a steady growth, and we didn't give up, and we know who we are, and we know the journey to get there, and it's going to take some time, but it was just steady and not losing sight of what the goals were.
D1 team that you root for outside of Temple?
D1 team, UConn women's basketball.
UConn women's, okay.
And that wasn't always the case.
No, okay.
Now, Gino had, I didn't like the way the season ended.
He kind of had a little bit of a rough.
I wasn't in love with that. But he's grown on me over time, and maybe that's because his attitude has changed as he's gotten older.
Now,
right?
I thought for some reason, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else, but I thought for some reason you liked Ohio State for something.
Love Ohio State.
Okay, did you have like
my daughter?
I was going to say you had a family member that played there. Okay, because I was going to say I remember Ohio State for some reason.
Well, I mean, I just think of sort of East Coast, right? But I'm going to cheer for Ohio State in every sport. So that's a given.
Not that team up north, right? As they call it.
Oh, look, I don't hate them as much as I'm supposed to. I mean, but I didn't go to Ohio State, so that's why I don't hate them.
What's Temple's biggest rival?
Penn State.
Is it not? Okay.
No. That's who it was.
That's
when
who it was then too. So it's always
Penn
been
State
Penn
and
State.
Everything. Okay. I don't know.
So the Nittany Lions are a team that you would not really ever root for in anything.
Ever.
Okay. Fair enough.
Anyone that knows me knows that that's absolutely true.
Arguably, probably the most.
And can I just say that's because I'm jealous, right? Of their school spirit, of everything they have, right? They also
100,000 seat stadium.
They also beat us my junior year in the national championship. That's who we beat the following year. So that's the rivalry. But I can admit that it's purely based on
with my parents, it was Georgetown because that was Syracuse, Georgetown. Yeah. With me, honestly, it's Ithaca.
Okay.
Ithaca, out of my 4 years, we played them twice a year. They were in Empire 8 school. Beat them probably twice in the 4 years. And then all of a sudden, they joined Liberty League, and I'm like, I see this team again. So I hear what you're saying there. The
natural rivalries are what makes athletics.
Makes it great.
Fantastic.
And you can hate them without.
Which is why it's so disappointing the Big East is no longer around for basketball.
I was at the
or I would even say, in Philly, the Big Five.
Okay, that was a while ago, but yeah. Okay. Huh. Well, I was at the Syracuse UConn, the 7 overtime game. I went to it thinking, it's gonna be a standard basketball game, and it was 3 a.m. before we get out of there. But that was fantastic. And the Big East was awesome. And those kind of rivalries, I think you don't see as much anymore in the D1 level. Everything's kind of has like a corporate polish to it now.
Well, there is, and the conferences are all messed up. Like
the ACC, Atlantic Coast Conference, they got Cal and Stanford in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Look at the Big Ten.
Yeah,
What's
UCLA and
doing in there?
Oregon, and yeah.
You know, so I mean, there's no
super conferences
geographic,
now.
well, yeah, and there's no geographic proximity, right? That hasn't impacted Division
It's about
Three in
money,
the same way. Yeah, absolutely. But it hasn't impacted Division Three the same way, but you can see that it's starting to.
Is it? Okay.
Well, I mean, people are breaking up, right? This,
Yeah. Well, the
SUNY
Empire
Conference-
imploded. Yeah.
well, and so did the SUNY Conference.
Yep.
We've got SUNY schools leaving the SUNY Conference for financial reasons. I understand, but you never thought that would happen.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because the same roommate I was talking about, who's the D coordinator at Hartwick, Mark Theophil, if you're listening, big ups there. But he told me, like, when we first started, it was, Empire 8 was Hartwick, St. John Fisher, Alfred, Utica, Springfield, Norwich, like, Ithaca back in the day, and all that. Now he's recruiting against Brockport, Cortland, Morrisville, Buff State, and he's like, I get these kids who it's like, hey, I can go to school for $52,000 a year or $10,000 a year, and he's like, it just makes it tough to have SUNYs in your conference when you're a private school, and he's like, that makes it frustrating as well. So I can see that,
but
geographically.
You never thought that was going to happen.
No, I thought that they were separate.
I think the only conference, maybe two conferences, Ivies. And then SCAC. No one's coming in, no one's leaving, right?
No, yep.
Right? But I would have said that about, the Atlantic 10. Temple was in the Atlantic 10.
They were.
And
they're not anymore?
No.
What are they, Conference USA? Or?
No, they're like American.
AAC.
Yes.
Yeah, AAC
and I'm like,
now.
what is that all about, right?
Okay. The Owls. Yeah, the football team's been a little.
But you can't even follow it back. Well, football, basketball, you can't follow it in the same way.
In basketball. I mean, I know they made the tournament a couple years ago.
They shouldn't be in that conference.
No,
And that's just me. I don't know what financial decisions went into that. So that's just me owning that. I mean, but as an alum, I look at that and go, what?
Why? Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you're not competing against
these bigger names?
Like
really,
Rutgers was in there. Penn State was in the Atlantic 10.
VCU I think used to be.
They used to be after. They weren't part of the original. St. Joe's.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the old Atlantic
St. Bonaventure.
The Bonnies.
Rhode Island, UMass. UMass is right in the MAC now.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember these conferences. Yeah, not the 1A, not 2As.
Yes, it doesn't make sense though.
Yeah, everyone's changing and blowing up and all that stuff. So
hard to follow.
It's interesting.
So the thing is, it's hard to follow for a couple of reasons. One, you never know what conference they're playing in, and because of the transfer situation, you never are following the same team because people are jumping around left and right.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
and I guess creating new rivalries also.
I guess
in a process, because there are teams now like I never cared about Duke.
No,
now I hate Duke.
Right, but it's East Coast, West Coast rivalries that don't make a lot of sense.
True. Like I know Stanford, Syracuse's football team, not this past year, but the year before, would have won the ACC regular season tournament had it not been for, I don't know, was a fourth down conversion or a missed kick or something against Stanford.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are they playing Stanford?
Right.
So same kind of thing.
We're set in our ways. We're old. That's all that means.
I say that all the time. I say, I'm so old. They're like, you're 37. I'm like, I feel old.
Yeah.
And the last one, because I think I heard somebody come in, so we got to probably wrap it up here. But one that I've done with everybody, I'll give you, it has nothing to do with athletics. It is to just do with a mind state. And I'll get to that in 1 second. I got to do my little PSA, and then we'll finish that off with that. And again, this episode is, again, we're joined by Athletic Director Gail Cummings-Danson. Since taking over in 2005, she's led the growth of a 19-team program, overseeing major facility upgrades, expanding staffing, and helped to elevate both the competitive and academic success of Skidmore student-athletes, including the creation of Thoroughbred Society, as we mentioned, recognizing excellence in the classroom. Before Skidmore, she played a key role at UAlbany during its transition to Division I, and her impact on the game of lacrosse has earned her induction into the U.S. and Canadian National Lacrosse Hall of Fames. I didn't quite get to that, but I had to get that in. And so, which is a great honor as well. Again, it was the U.S. National one in 2007 and the Canadian one in 2008, which, again, to be in a National Hall of Fame for anything is awesome. But so to finish off the fourth quarter free throws is what I've called it. Again, nothing to do with athletics, but I've asked everybody that's been on the same question. If you had to choose, and again, it's top of the head, first thing.
Yep.
If you had to choose, and it's only these two, skydive or shark cage?
Oh, My God. Well, first, let me just say I wouldn't do either because I'm afraid of sharks.
Fair enough. Okay.
And I'm afraid of heights.
Okay.
But I'm more afraid of sharks.
You pick skydive.
So yes, I hope that means it's a tandem because
that's well, okay. So you're different because you don't like either.
Yes.
Some people are like right off the rip, like skydive. I'm like, you're insane.
No.
Because at least
it's
with
the lesser of two evils.
At least, how?
Because I'm assuming I'm not doing it myself, so I'm going to be attached to
with somebody. Okay.
Who's a guide and a teacher.
Either way,
right?
my logic in it is you've got an animal.
Yeah.
That can't. You're in a ton of steel.
Say can't.
You're in a ton of steel. Chances are can't get in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Worst comes to worst, the boat pulls you up, but you're in. You got that steel protector. Okay. Yeah. You jump out of an airplane at 10,000 feet. You pull that, it doesn't open.
Yeah.
And with my luck, it wouldn't open. You know, people look at skydive videos and they're like, oh, they're floating through the air and it's so great. 30 seconds, you're on the ground.
Let me just say, either way, I'm having a heart attack, so it doesn't matter.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm afraid of both.
So she pleads the fifth on that, which is good because, again, if you pick skydive and you're not, again, you're in a different situation. But if you pick skydive out of the blue, you're insane.
You're going in the shark tank.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No,
well, my first love.
Since Jaws, I'm not going in.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, my first love was actually, I wanted to be marine biology, marine ecology, and study the animals and all the different things, but terrible at math. I took the Math B regions 3 times, and my best grade was a 65. I'm just not a math person. English, history, great.
Yeah.
Language, great. Bio, all that. Math could not do. So I go down to University of Tampa, and I'm like, yeah, I want to be a marine biology program. I want to be the shark cage guy. I want to be those guys on Discovery. And they're like, yeah, well, you need pre-calc and calculus and, organic chem and all this. And I'm like, why? I just want to study the animals. Yeah. And they're like, no, well, you got to, measure the tectonic shift in the plates and the this. And I'm like,
know what the current is, how fast.
I was like, I'm gonna fail out of it. I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna pursue sports. So that's why for me it's always been a passion. But I also have terrible luck. I don't know if you can see this right here. I have the worst luck on the planet. So for me, that parachute would not open. I'd be the one that would not open for it.
My fingers would be crossed for it, but yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm not going in a Shark Tank.
But either way, so again, this was Between the Reins, and Gail Cummings-Danson is retiring at the end of this academic year, so we will have somebody new, and I will have to deal with somebody new next year, unfortunately. But again, thank you for coming on with us. I've been waiting to talk to you.
Yep.
There's so much more that we could get into, but I only have an hour slot this year. So hopefully we covered what we needed to cover, and the people can learn a little bit more about you that maybe they didn't know. So that's the whole purpose of this program. So once again, voice of the Thoroughbreds, Chris McSwiggan here with you. Gail signing off, and we will see you guys next week. I actually have Brad Campion coming on next week, so that'll be fun. He was supposed to be before, but he had to reschedule. So yeah, Brad's a good guy.
Yeah.
So again, stay tuned. Same time, same place, same station next week.